Welcome to r/PettyRevenge, where we share stories of small victories over those who have wronged you. And today we have 3 great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story, dirty neighbor was kicked out of the house. The second story, don't be an a-hole to your bus driver. The third, arrogant Jason and his best car ever. Today's first story is, you can kick me out over it. Well, if you insist. About a year ago, I had a terrible housemate and a good housemate. Let's call the bad one B, and the other housemate OH. Here's an abbreviated list of how B was bad. 1. She had a little dog who would bark at everything. A door in the house opened, knocking sound, doorbell, if I came home later than 10 p.m., etc. It was a small dog, and the barks were ear-piercing. 2. She was possessive of space. She moved in after I had been there for over a year, but she claimed whatever space she was in. Like, if she was cooking, she would get irritated if we went into the living room or kitchen area because she wanted to be alone. 3. She was angry. She would write scathing texts. One even made me fear for my life about little things. I was honestly terrified of her, what she might do. 4. She played piano all the time, literally every day. I asked her once if she could play using headphones. Not to stop, to play with headphones, because I needed some more sleep. She told me that playing piano was her thing, and I had known about it when she moved in, so I would have to deal with it. To be fair, the time I asked her to play headphones was during the day, and she would usually play during the day, just super early. 5. She went to bed at 7 or 8 p.m. and expected absolute quiet after that, but would wake up and play piano at 6 a.m. without consideration to our needs. 6. She smoked weed in her room all day every day, even after I specifically told her not to. She could smoke it outside, I just didn't want to get in trouble with the landlords. 7. She wouldn't clean. She said she couldn't touch other people's dishes, OCD, and that she would clean all of hers. That's fine, except she wouldn't always do her dishes. I ended up doing them often. She would also freak out if there was a single dish in the sink. She wouldn't put away dishes, not once. She complained about things being messy, but wouldn't clean them, like mopping the floor or vacuuming up her dog's hair. God, that's so frustrating. I can't believe people like that exist. It's just ridiculous. I can't believe they get through life, getting away with this SH, you know? There's more than the above, but this thing is already going to be way too long. B had been living with me in OH for about 8 months when I ran out of patience. I asked her to take out the recycling, as she hadn't done it in 6 weeks. I knew it was 6 weeks because it had been since before she went away for spring break, and it was the end of April when I texted her. Note, I am disabled, so taking out the recycling can be taxing, especially since she would drink 3 glass bottles of beer or more a day. She said she didn't put them in the recycling bin, but I could literally see them on top. Below is a paraphrasing of our exchange, meaning I was reading the exact text and just cutting the fluff. Me, can you please take out the recycling? B, maybe, you guys don't stack it right, so it's pretty gross. Me, alright, that's something you should have told us before now, but fine. You don't have to take out the recycling. Just please don't put anything in there if you aren't going to take it out. Same goes for the trash. Like it or not, what you put in adds to it, and it can be painful for me to do. B, I'm not putting anything in the trash or recycling. Lie, and I never even go out of my room. When I do put things in the trash, I make sure it's compressed, true, and clean, not true. Also, there are too many standards I hold that are being unmet to mention them all, so I cope how I can. I do plenty of washing, not true. I put a bag in the recycling a couple times, but no one takes the hint. What? She then went on a rant about finals, and OH bringing guests causing her stress. Me, I know it's been 6 weeks because explanation. What standards aren't being met? You need to tell us these things. Like with the bags, I can't read your mind. I understand finals are stressful, but I can't do everything. And if you don't like the guests, you have to talk to OH about it. I can't stop her. B, I don't care if it's been 6 weeks, and like I said, I don't put much in there, which you should know. When I took out the trash that day, there were 6 beer bottles visible on top, let alone what was under everything else. I was only telling you why I was frustrated. I'm just trying to tough it out until I'm gone in 2 weeks, summer vacation, and I'm not going to take it out, so there's that. You could kick me out over it, but I'm not touching that. I honestly hadn't thought about kicking her out until that moment. I was honestly looking for other places to live. OH was moving out, so I was going to leave B with the job of replacing both of us, as she refused to help find a new housemate to fill for OH, but she still wanted to vet all potential people. I waited 1 hour, talked to some friends, talked to OH, talked to my mom, and really thought it over. I let myself calm down completely and considered all my options. Finally, I sent her this. Me, you know what, B? Fine. Be out by the end of May. You can keep the furniture that came with your room if you'd like. She was furious, and she beat me out about it over text for hours, but she couldn't do anything. She honestly hadn't thought I would kick her out, and she desperately tried to backtrack. She was living there off the lease, illegally, and I had evidence of her SH roommate behavior through our text exchange. She effed me out of the last month's rent and left the room a mess. Bong water all over the ground. Ugh. But she was gone by May 15th, and I haven't heard from her since. The next story is, rude to me when you get on my bus? Whoops, we went past your stop. I get lots of rude and odd people on my bus. This one just happened to me a few hours ago. Yay! So, a little backstory, I'm a bus driver. Duh, I'm sitting in the bus station of a major city in the UK, waiting to pick up passengers. Around 12 people in total. This bus route goes a little bit out of the way, so it's never too busy, and it's the only bus that happens to go to certain cities. I used to work in childcare and the hotel industry, so I'm pretty used to dealing with people. Cast. Me. That bus driver person who always looks miserable, but is really just paying attention to the road. AP. A-hole passenger. AP boards on her phone. She's a middle-aged woman in very expensive garb and idiotic sunglasses. She continues her conversation a little bit, whilst I watch her, before addressing me swiftly and angrily. Does this bus go to A-hole Road in Wville? Me. We go to Wville, ma'am, but not A-hole Road. You'd have to walk about 10 minutes to get there. AP. Fine, how much? Me. Would you like a single or a return, ma'am? AP. A return, obviously. Does it look like I'm gonna walk there? Me. Alright, one return to Wville. $4.20, please. She pays with a 20, making sure to pull out a 5 and then the 20 after and pays for the ticket. It's worth noting that Wville is in the Zone A area, along with this city. But this bus goes all the way to Potato Land, which is in the Zone B area. She has a Zone A ticket. This is important later to the pettiness. AP takes her ticket and huffs, whilst counting her change out, in case I shortchange her. Tell me when we reach Wville, because I don't know where it is. Me. As long as I remember, ma'am. She sits down in a huff and I depart. When people ask me to let them know when we reach somewhere, I always respond with as long as I remember, as this gives me some cover in case I forget, because we do legitimately forget. As I'm driving along the bus route, I can hear her loudly complaining on the phone about how it smells in here and how she's on a peasant wagon. Yes, really, and other obnoxious things. She makes comments about me and other passengers. It's annoying but happens. Not much to be done. We reach the outskirts of Wville, and I'm totally fed up with this woman, so I decide a little bit of petty revenge is in order. Wville is a tiny hamlet, maybe 30 houses along a short stretch of road. Very easy to miss, and so I miss it. I continue driving, another 30 minutes to an area that's in the Zone B area, just after the other bus passes me coming the other way. Then I audibly gasp and come to a stop at a bus stop. Me, ma'am? AP, what? Are we here? Me, ma'am, I'm so sorry, but I forgot that you wish to get off at Wville, and we've gone past it. AP, what? How could you be so stupid? She then came up to the front of the bus as I opened the doors, berating me. I sat there and remained quiet for a while before doing the customer service thing. You know what I mean. Me, I'm so sorry, ma'am. If you hop off here and wait at the stop across the road, a bus will be with you shortly to take you back to Wville. AP cusses at me some more and proclaims she'll be speaking to the CEO about this. Yeah, good luck with that. Before getting off and going across the road to the unsheltered bus stop in the middle of nowhere. With no mobile signal, an hour at minimum wait, and a ticket that won't get her back on the bus, I picked my spots well. I drove off and went home. I can only hope she was still out there when the rain started. Ain't life wonderful? I'm not a horrible person or anything. I look miserable most of the time, and I wear an odd hat. Old peaked cap from the US, but I'm genuinely a nice guy. But if you're gonna be horrid to me, don't expect any favors, and if you're gonna badmouth me, expect a small silly reason to badmouth me to become legit. The last story is Grandpa's Revenge. Why doesn't my Chevy Nova get 30 miles per gallon anymore? This tale is from my grandfather, who was in his early 40s in the 1970s during the big gas crunch. He was an upper mid-level employee at a fuel service station. The way he tells it, he wasn't management, but just a veteran employee. So a new guy gets hired. We'll call him Jason because I've never met a Jason I liked, who immediately claims to know how to do everything. He tells Grandpa on day one that he already knows how to do everything. Jason mostly ignores Grandpa's training and orientation and claims to have a better, faster, or more efficient way to do everything. After 2 weeks of being on the job, Jason offers to train the other guys who have been working there for years, for only a pay raise. Management declines his offer. Jason manages to peeve everybody off right quick. Jason basically claimed to be a car savant. He claimed that his innate understanding of mechanics and the inner workings of cars allow him to maximize fuel efficiency. Jason claimed that he could improve his fuel efficiency as he drove his car, a Nova. I'm guessing late 60s, early 70s model by Grandpa's timeline. He claimed the fuel efficiency would continue to improve as he did his own maintenance and tricks to the car. In Jason's mind, the fuel crunch was BS democratic fear-mongering, and his fuel-saving measures were proof of his intellectual superiority. He figured he would be promoted to management soon, and told my grandpa to stay in his good graces if he wants to keep his job after his promotion. Keep in mind, Jason is barely a month into a new job at a service station. The Revenge. None of the employees liked him, but he wasn't bad enough to get fired or to force him to quit. Jason was a D, but not dangerous or a liability. The crew decided to humble him. Around the end of the first month, everyone was sick of hearing about his SH Nova. He would work on it in the service bays after hours and brag about its improvements. I don't know how much involvement my grandfather had in this revenge, but Jason's downfall was orchestrated like a classic Russian novelist tortures a protagonist. The service crew started adding fuel to Jason's car while he worked. Just a little. It started a cup at a time. Then after the crew realized Jason was too thick to notice, they started adding pints and quarts, sometimes a gallon before a weekend. Jason kept track of his mileage and fuel ups in a notepad in his glove box. The crew kept track of how much fuel they added. Jason was going further and further on a tank every week. After about 3 months, he was bragging to anyone who would listen that he was getting nearly 30 miles per gallon with his Nova. I don't know what size it was, but Wikipedia says the Nova had 3 engines, between 3L and 5L, in the 60s and 70s. Grandpa said at the peak they were adding a gallon of fuel a day to Jason's car. The crew decided it was time to pull the rug out. They stopped adding fuel, just long enough for Jason to get about 2 tanks, where one low number couldn't be a fluke. He couldn't figure out why his MPG plummeted. He stopped bragging and started putting in extra hours after work trying to diagnose his car. He changed his air intake, his oil and filter. Jason was visibly agitated whenever crew members asked about his car. Jason about died when they began siphoning fuel. Grandpa said Jason redoubled his efforts to find the problem. He changed the oil twice in a week, oiled wheel bearings in the crankcase, bought new tires and changed fuel grades. He even tried blending fuel grades. He would leave cardboard under to the car to spot leaks. He tried parking at different slopes to see if stuff leaked. He checked seals and replaced them even if they were good. Even with all the stuff wrong with his car, Grandpa said the guy was still arrogant about his prowess under the hood. The crew decided it was enough. They just about recovered the fuel they had placed in Jason's car and decided to stop siphoning at the end of the week. Jason gave them one last laugh though. He'd become a little bit paranoid about Grandpa's service station, so he took it to some other service station and complained that his Nova wasn't getting 30 miles per gallon anymore. They laughed him out of the station. The crew never confessed to their crime, and Jason was none the wiser. Jason was still a P, but he shut up about his car for the rest of the time he worked there. Thank you for watching.